Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next. No question? At front, please. Yes.
Bismillah. My name is Khwaja Rashid. I'm District Emergency Officer from AJK, Pakistan Administrative Kashmir. I'm working Rescue 122 since 16 years. My question is, what is the coordination between the INSRAJ icon and ma'am, your organization? And do you have your own emergency response team? And what is the mechanism to dispatch if need any country during disaster? What is the mechanism for icon emergency response team dispatch? Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you for the question. From the Australian perspective, we have, like Pakistan, we have local and national coordination mechanisms that exist within government in different states and territories. And then, luckily for Australia, we have two classified teams, OZ1 and OZ2, and our representatives are on the table there with the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade colleagues as well. So we're lucky to have those two classified teams, which not only will be deployed internationally, they'll also be utilised at a national level if required. Each state and territory will have its own form of a search and rescue capability, which will form part of emergency response. So they will fall under first responder program, then they'll be coordinated through the state and territory coordination network with government, and then if required, for an emergency overseas, the two teams being OZ1 and OZ2 can be utilised if accepted to go overseas. So, lucky for OZ1, their team last year, the Asia Pacific Earthquake Response Exercise was conducted in Brisbane, and a really fantastic event which was able to really test our national response and coordination mechanism. So we have a National Emergency Management Agency, which is fairly new in its production and operation, so we were able to test that last year. We were able to concurrently with that test our customs and immigration processes, like our colleague discussed this morning here in Pakistan. You have a number of procedures and policies to follow. We do the same in Australia. So the exercise last year was able to really test those systems and processes, but it really tested us in not only establishing our national coordination mechanism, but then how the international environment and the partners that we operate with, how they would then supplement our national response and coordination. Because as we do see around the world, some countries are very, very self-sufficient and don't readily accept international assistance, and then we have other countries that are very, very disaster prone that require a bit more international assistance. So for the Australian context, it was a really good opportunity to test that national mechanism, because no doubt one day ourselves in Australia we will need to request international assistance and we need that support, and we were able to do that last year on how that international assistance can support the national mechanism, and we'll be doing that exact process beginning this afternoon in the next 2.5, 3 days. We will be testing the national response and coordination mechanism here in Pakistan and how the international community can support that.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for giving detailed answer. My question, second part is, what is the mechanism and coordination between your organization and INSRAJ? When you make tools or recommendation, you can submit to INSRAJ authorities for approval, and after that it is implement all over the world or not?
Yes, Dr. Fahad can respond and I can even respond. INSRAJ is the United Nations as a body who is actually coordinating the response of all the classified teams, and they don't have their own they have the humanitarian partners, they have the self-classified teams, and this way they generate the response throughout the world, and it's a very well coordinated system. Sir Brendan, you want to say something, please?
So just to add to that a little bit, the question regarding the standards, the INSARAG standards. So obviously our classified teams adhere to those INSARAG standards, and when we go through our classification checklist, that's what we're doing. That's what we're able to achieve, is the 172 items on that checklist. Therefore, they're engaging and increasing that standard to the INSARAG level. So that's what we have adhered to and accepted with our two classified teams in Australia, like the Pakistan 1122 team have, their medium classified team. And then what our challenge is now with the INSARAG community is to actually how we adopt that across our other areas within our countries. So within Australia, we are now working closely with the other states and territories for the opportunity to bring their urban search and rescue standard up to the INSARAG standard, if they want. So it's really important that those people have to commit and buy into increasing the standard to that level. And as Winston said, we have that standard because it's quality assurance. And we do it through our peer-to-peer review process, but it ensures that we're meeting the quality standards within the INSARAG system and network.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Another question, please.
Yeah, Brendan, you mentioned that through this exercise you were testing out the national capacity. We're going to do the same here. So I also saw that there were hot briefs during the agenda and all. Is there a way of actually compiling all of this learnings as we would do along the way, but in the end we'll be coming together and understanding it as a whole for each of the organizations and each of the functional groups, if you want to call it that way, and then go back and internalize it. So something as a report that would come at the end of it, as well as the learnings as we go along. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Sir, question is with you.
Yes. Sorry, yes, the short answer is yes, we are going to, so with the QR codes that are around, we are asking people to provide their feedback as we go through the process. So particularly for the different functional groups, it's really, really important for each agency and person playing a particular role to provide as much feedback as they can. On Saturday morning, before lunch, Bruce, one of the exercise coordinators, is going to take you through a feedback session. So we're actually going to ask each functional group, one or two representatives from each functional group, to come up on the stage and present their key findings and feedback throughout the exercise. So XCON are going to do it from our perspective, from the different functional groups. So what I failed to mention earlier on is the XCON team has 37 XCON members in our team. So it's quite a large team. It takes quite a big team to bring it together, both national and international XCON members. But we're going to, as a functional team, provide you with a bit of a recap of what we went through, each functional group, and provide some feedback from XCON. But then we're going to ask the participants to develop a short presentation and answer 2 or 3 questions for each functional group to do that. And then I'm not sure with Dr. Farhan and his team, but I presume there will be a feedback report produced out of the feedback from the QR code.
Yes, we will do. Thank you very much. Next. Just raise your hand, please. No? Should I close this session? Because the next is very interesting session. Okay, now it's time